guys, welcome back to Insomniac Stream. Today's video is for my Resident Evil zombie makeup. Essentially, it was following the little tutorial that comes with the Mehron Resident Evil kits. So it has like a little pictorial in it. My attempt at becoming this dude. I definitely don't know how amateur friendly this is, only in the sense that working with this much scar wax is very hard. At least for me it was. If you're a scar wax lover, then you will have a great time doing this, but wanted to be honest with you, I found it pretty difficult at different times. So hopefully you want to see how to bring this to life, and if you do, then just keep watching. So the first step is to not so much block down your brows, but you're more just protecting your brows from anything you're going to put on top of it. You don't want to accidentally lift your hairs afterwards. So I'm just using the spirit gum that comes in the kit and running it over my brows and doing a few layers and then laying it dry and powdering it with the no color powder. From there, you can see I'm adding more, which seems a little weird, but that's because now that it's fully set and my brow hairs are protected, it's time to start the process of the endless scar wax application. Also, quick note, Mehron's is actually called Sin Wax. I just say scar wax because that's what I've always known it as. I don't know if there's any difference between scar wax and Sin Wax, but I'm just putting that little disclaimer out in case there is. I didn't notice a difference, but there might be. But one commonality is that you get a little tub of this stuff, and it is actually pretty hard to the touch. I used the little spatula that came in the kit to scoop it out, and I use my fingers to create all these little worms or little balls. And you can see I'm constantly using my fingers, and that's mainly because you're using the warmth of your actual hands and face to try and make this more malleable. If you went straight from the tub to your face and then kind of just only use the spatula, you'll find it really hard to blend in because you really do need to warm it up. And there is kind of a sweet spot between where it's warm enough to work with and then gets a little too warm and gets kind of sticky. So the best technique I find is, one thing that doesn't come with the kit is a little tub of Vaseline if you go out and buy some, and that is so you can kind of just put a little bit on your fingers as a coating, and that way when you're blending it into your face, it will have a better chance of sticking to your skin than sticking to your fingers and just coming off while you're trying to apply it. It's also why you can see whenever I move to new areas of the face, I constantly reapply a new little thin layer of spirit gum. That's because spirit gum is an adhesive and it will give a little bit more tackiness for the Sin Wax to grip to. It's not foolproof by any means, but it definitely gives it a better chance of staying on your face than sticking to your fingers. And then the rest is me really trying to follow the pictorial that comes with it. So I was making sure to really push out the brow bone by creating kind of a Neanderthal brow by really building up that area. And then making the lifted areas around the nose and mouth so that it will look like lifted skin and expose the jaw and teeth. I also used a little bit of a makeup spatula to start carving in little lines and veins and cracks that would exist in the skin if it was rotting and decaying. But you can use this to kind of dig in under the wax and pull some away to make some sores and exposed areas for blood and coloring to go. And then one big area where I did differ from the pictorial was because I didn't really agree with it, was they carry the Sin Wax all the way to the very edge of the mouth. They go around the lips and around the area where your mouth moves the most, as well as putting Sin Wax on the lips to create the pattern for teeth. My worry was the flexibility of Sin Wax and scar wax is not high, so my fear was that if I put it around the mouth where it moves a lot, it would eventually just lift and fall off because it can't take that much movement. So I only went so far with the scar wax. Plus, this amount of buildup took like 4 hours or something. It was crazy. It took a very long time. So when you're finally happy with your buildup, the next step is to work on the painting, and they build up all of their paint by using a flicking brush, a chip brush, and flicking their liquid makeup all over the face. While admittedly it takes a little while, it actually has a pretty cool effect. I can see why they do it. It almost felt like a stone effect was being built. And when I had that built up enough, I was able to move into more coloring. So I used the Mehron bruise wheel that, again, all of it comes in the kit, so I tried to keep everything in there in case you guys are thinking of doing something similar. And at first I was taking the red and going along all the edges and areas where I wanted there to be exposed wounds, anywhere that I want it to be ripped away and there'd be blood. This is where, admittedly, the scar wax buildup does you a ton of favors because it created all these textures anyways when just applying it. There's all these little cracks and crevices you can kind of start detailing with the red and later a bit more black. And it kind of does all the work for you, so it's just finding wherever you want to add more color and then building it in. And then one thing I realized at this stage in the makeup was that I didn't actually carry the scar wax all the way around the other side, and that meant that I didn't have lifted skin to expose the teeth and mouth with, which wouldn't really have made sense. So I decided to try a visual trick and see if I could make it look as even as the other side with absolutely zero scar wax on this one. So if you don't have scar wax, this might actually work for you. From there, it was fill in the rest of the mouth area with the red and then jump into the black, which is actually not a black. It is technically a very dark blue because it is from the bruise wheel. And with that, I started going along the edges once again. This is going to make it look a lot deeper, a lot more recessed, and was a big help on the side where there was no scar wax, as well as all the areas that you want the wounds to be really deep and look like they are more irritated or rotting away. This is where you want to start adding that color. The darker blue is also fantastic for being underneath fake blood because it catches that deeper tone and then reflects it back with the shine of fake blood, so it's always a nice one to have in any kind of prosthetic paint. And then of course I also made sure to fill in all around the eyes with the same color to really help protrude that brow bone because that is a good look. And then again, just add more irritation with the red and blue. And then for the teeth, it's a pretty simple process. You're just making kind of reverse teardrop shapes. I've done this in a lot of my skull makeups before if you want to see a little bit more in depth on it. But I'm just using the cream white that comes in the kit. One thing to note with cream, it is fantastic because it will be sweat resistant, but it has a higher chance of smudging. So if you kind of don't want to risk that, you might want to do this with an aqua paint that is water activated if you have one. And then from there, I just went ahead and defined around the teeth with the dark blue color again, and then got to move into the fun of working with fake blood. The kit actually does come with a few different styles. One is the coagulated thick blood, which is what I used first. This stuff will keep its shine. It won't really move on you because it's really chunky and very, very thick viscosity, but is fantastic for putting around the edges of the mouth, inside the wounds where you want things to just stay looking kind of gory. And then the more liquid style blood is fantastic to use on the stipple sponge all around the wounds to make them have more texture and look irritated, as well as add any blood drips or extra flesh blood that you might want in the look. Last step was to throw on a police hat, a shirt, and any last little details, and you are done. And so that is it for my Resident Evil zombie Mehron makeup. Super, super fun. Zombie makeups are always hilariously fun to do, so I hope you guys are also turning yourselves into some creepy, awesome creations this Halloween. Please link me to your awesome stuff if you can. I love to see what you guys are creating because you're all like crazy talented. So yes, I look forward to seeing all of that. That is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and so until next time, bye guys!